You mentioned artificial intelligence. Are you worried about the future?
No, this is the best time for me. See, if, let us say, right now, you have read 10,000 things and you remember all that. I have not read anything. So, the value that you have is only the memory you have. But now I have a little gadget which knows 1,000,000 times more than you know. So now what is the value for you and me? What kind of a human being I am is the only value, isn't it? What nonsense you carry in your head is of no value. So this is a great time for me. This is great time for humanity because now you being a human being will become more important than what nonsense you carry in your head. I'm sorry, this is head talk.
So are you saying then that we are living in the best time in history?
Definitely. Is there any question? Never before human survival was as well organized as it is today. If you had to start your morning, you had to take a bucket and go to River Thames, which is a mile away, and carry this bucket full of water. Tell me in this room, how many people are even fit enough to carry a bucket full of water for a mile? Now we're complaining because the warm water is not coming. There are two knobs you have to turn for warm and cold water. You want a single knob, so people are freaking in the morning. Two knobs have to handle. So, survival is better organized than ever before. When our concern was survival, we couldn't pay attention to other dimensions of life. See, once you come as a human being, if you had come as any other creature, stomach full, life settled. Once you come as a human being, stomach empty, only one problem, stomach full, 100 problems. Why this is so is, our life is not fulfilled with survival. When our survival is in question, we are just like any other creature. Only when survival is fulfilled, the dimensions of being human kicks in into our experience. When you're thinking of where is my next meal, we don't expect you to be very human. You lose it in many ways. Now survival is settled for a large part of humanity. Unfortunately, there's still populations for whom it's still a struggle. But I would say at least for 60% of the population on the planet, for the first time, survival is better organized than ever before. The world is safer than ever before, though people are constantly complaining. Well, you're talking about Sri Lanka, yes, it's an unfortunate incident. But 1,000 years ago, if 1,000 people died just 100 miles away, you would be sitting here thinking world is super peaceful. Yes or no? Today it's because of BBC that somebody dies somewhere, the blood flows into your sitting room. It's a good thing, at least your humanity is being evoked, otherwise it'll sleep. So I'm saying, in terms of violence, we are more peaceful than ever before. Our survival is organized better than ever before, and above all, our ability to communicate is better than ever before. These are not small things. Now the question is, what are we going to communicate? Are we going to abuse each other? Are we going to throw dirty things at each other? Or are we going to do something that will transform us as a generation, because this is our time on the planet? Are we going to make this the greatest time in the world ever? Or are we going to let this pass? That's all we have on our hands. What else do we have? That's all we have. All we have is a little bit of time, isn't it? Hello? All we have is a little bit of time. But most people think they're immortal. That's why they don't do anything. Because they think only other people die. They don't understand you and me will die. When we are born, we are geared to die. So it's only a question of time. Time is ticking away right now. As you sit here, from the time we came and sat here, we're 20 minutes closer to our graves, all of us. Yes, if you're conscious, if you think about death once in a way, it'll become a morbid thought. But if you're conscious that you're mortal, you would organize your time in the most productive possible way, isn't it?
Are you worried about global leadership, though? I mean, you say we're living in the best time, it's the best time for us in terms of survival and technology, but if we look at the global phenomenons at the moment, I mean, even if we look at what's happening in this country with Brexit and identity politics and people feeling like they need to belong to a certain type of thinking or group on either side of the spectrum, is that not dividing us more and more?
See, I think this reaction is happening not just here, in many places across the world. I've been talking to media and others saying, don't push the pendulum too much on one side, it'll inevitably swing the other way around. So people have been pushing it too much on one side about politically being correct, saying the right word, not the right thing. The right word you must use. If I say mankind, women will react. I'm saying, is everybody so screwed up in their head, all the time they're discriminatory? I don't think so. Some people are, of course. But today it's become like this. You know, it was very natural for me, if you see a child, you want to pick up the child, you want to do something, you want to talk to them, you want to hug them, whatever, because it's like a fresh flower. But today, you don't know whether to touch the child or not, because people are making such a big deal about it. I am not saying there are no issues, there are serious issues, this which needs to be addressed. But at the same time, when we push it to a paranoia level, instead of taking necessary steps, we make it a paranoia among people, then the other swing is inevitably going to come. Now somebody is saying, don't worry about all this ecological nonsense, nothing is going to happen, everything is fine, let's do everything as it is because this is all rubbish, because you pushed it too much. This is very important to understand, people who are concerned in this world. If you are a concerned human being, it's very important, whatever you think is right, you must not push it too much. If you push it too much, the reverse pendulum will anyway happen, you're seeing that right now. Talking about Brexit, is it okay? Because I think you already made up your mind, so see, could you sell this idea to anybody in 1945? 1945, could you sell this idea that Germans, French, Italians, Spanish, English all come together as a union? Could you even think, I'm asking, after World War II? So in 50 years' time, when such a thing happens, it's not just an economic arrangement, it's a huge step in human consciousness, that with people that you fought so bitterly, bitterly means it can't be any worse, human beings can't find any worse than that. After that, within 50 years, when the generation is still alive, many members of that generation are still alive, you thought of coming together, it's not a small thing. It's not just economic arrangement, it's not just euro versus your pound or whatever. It is a tremendous step for humanity. But now you want to go back on it? It's done.
On that note